By the way, other than playing Helldivers, one thing I wanted to showcase here about Helldivers is that it is a direct Starship Troopers, like it's a very faithful uh, rendition of Starship Troopers, and since that's like popping off, here's a bad thread apparently. Here's a bad thread apparently about Starship Troopers not being a good parody. Watching the movie, it's clear the director was aiming for a campy, over-the-top depiction of Terran Federation. Perhaps not an outright mockery, but certainly a drastic departure from the serious novel. First, let's tackle a writing pitfall that irks leftists to this day. If you make your characters naturally handsome, fit, and well-groomed, then it becomes increasingly difficult to mock them. Beauty is self-evident, and the characters in Starship Troopers are good-looking. Yeah, this guy's dumb as fuck. Never mind, I take it back. I mean, it was already gonna be bad, but it's like this extends to overall Terran Federation as well. We see clean, beautiful streets. Life is good for Rico and his polite high school. This is a far cry from the crime-ridden, drug-addicted cities. Oh my God, this guy's analysis is literally not getting it. No, he's saying like the aesthetics of fascism are so alluring. I'm exactly the kind of dumbass that likes fascism now. Unless this is a straight up continuing on the bit type thing, like a extra satirical take or something. This guy, I think, is like, he has to be like a straight up white nationalist, right? I can assure you he's not joking. This extends to the overall Terran Federation as well. We see clean, beautiful streets. Life seems good, and Rico is in polite high school. This is a far cry from the crime-ridden, drug-addicted cities we know today, where the homeless encamp as the ghettos. Can we nail the Terran Federation for being cruel? I guess. But when you play off the cruelty as a joke, you're undermining your own message. This isn't a dialogue about the brutal conditions for training soldiers in a futuristic setting. This is a gag, and it's hilarious. All right. What about the critique of comparison? Perhaps the enemies of the Terran Federation have a better system. Oh, wait. No, they're bugs. I've seen people genuinely argue that the bugs are supposed to be sympathetic, but they're still bugs. This is not a phase I can relate to, sympathize for, or even have dialogue with. Oh my God. Oh my God. This guy literally is like, I'm a Nazi, so I liked Starship Troopers. Like he's like, he watched it and was like, no, this is sick. Like it makes my people look good. And he can't see it for like how stupid it is. The only thing you can really critique about the Terran Federation is the propaganda and incompetence. But when everything is so slapstick, it fails at landing a serious point. These guys are badass in a funny movie, not a warning about the dangers of fascism. I cannot tell if this guy is like too dumb for media literacy or if he's just a fucking fascist and was like, this is actually good. This is actually good pro-fascism propaganda. Even Looper Video Dude, get it? It was satire.
A satirical slap in Heinlein's face, a love triangle that doesn't exist, and a seriously gutting happy ending. Maybe the bugs were the real heroes after all. Most filmmakers take on book adaptations because they enjoy the source material. That wasn't the case for Paul Verhoeven when he agreed to direct Starship Troopers. He interpreted Robert Heinlein's novel as ideologically fascist and pro-war, and since Verhoeven grew up in Nazi-occupied Holland during World War II, it's understandable why he lambasts these ideas. In an interview with...
Yeah, this is like Japanese understanding of protocols of Zion, levels of misunderstanding, but in the worst possible way. He took the exact opposite route. He was like, wow, dude. I love the fucking satire of fascism. I love the satire of fascism, but like in the direction of loving fascism.
Digital
Sick.
Spy, the director explained that he wanted to make a movie about a fascist utopia where citizens aren't aware of what was really going on. In the film, Casper Van Dien's Johnny Rico and his mobile infantry unit are happy to risk their lives on the battlefield.
Service guarantees citizenship, baby.
Despite how they're viewed by their higher-ups.
Fresh meat for the grinder, eh?
While Starship Troopers is mostly a cautionary tale about totalitarianism, the movie boasts a cast of likable characters who are easy to root for. If you overlook their enjoyment of blasting through bugs and how they blindly follow a questionable regime, the heroes are regular people. This drives home the idea that everyday folks easily become spokes in the wheel of an authoritarian state if they don't hold their leaders accountable. Starship Troopers isn't exactly subtle in how it skewers fascism. The film is littered with Nazi imagery and nods to German propaganda films from World War II. The opening shot was pinched from Leni Riefenstahl's infamous propaganda film Triumph of the Will, and the officers' uniforms are reminiscent of the Nazi SS and Gestapo. While these visuals were included to get the film's point across to the audience, Verhoeven's crew also appreciated the aesthetic appeal of the uniforms. According to an interview with Entertainment Weekly, screenwriter Ed Neumeyer claimed, "Germans made the best-looking stuff." This appealed to the film's art directors and costume designers, with Verhoeven adding that the goal was to deconstruct propaganda films, giving the viewers some food for thought regarding the bigger issues. Verhoeven said, "I tried to seduce the audience to join Starship Troopers society, but then ask, what are you really joining up for?" Hollywood likes a good romance story, especially if it involves a love triangle, increasing drama and conflict between the characters. Starship Troopers was going down that route until test audiences reacted poorly to the subplot where Denise Richards' Carmen couldn't decide if she wanted to be with Rico or Patrick Muldoon's Xander Barkalow. While a love triangle is teased, with Rico often acting jealous, Starship Troopers is more interested in Carmen's personal qualities than her love life. She's depicted as a smart, career-driven pilot who's good at her job and doesn't need to be romantic.
This chatter nailed it. Here, this is it. This chatter nailed it. This 1 minute and 20-second sequence will teach you everything you need to know about the film, okay?
Consequences of this oath. Enroll in the federal service for not less than 2 years, and as much longer as may be required by the needs of the Federation.
Thank you.
Fresh meat for the grinder, eh? So how'd you kids do?
I'm gonna be a pilot.
Well, good for you. We need all the pilots we can get.
Hey, did you get Starside R&D?
No,
I don't believe it.
I got games and theory.
Games in theory? That's military intelligence.
Way to go, Carl.
Next time we meet, I'll probably have to salute you. What about you, son?
Infantry, sir.
Good for you. Mobile infantry made me the man I am today.
Get it? Do you understand? Here, let me run it back again for people who don't get it.
Sir.
Good for you. Mobile infantry made me the man I am today.
It's not even subtle, but I mean, it's as subtle as a heart attack. But I think for people like, they just don't understand it. But I guess, like, if you're a fascist, you look at that and you're like, what is he saying? It made him bald? Is that what it is?
Romantically involved with anyone to be interested.
Explain it then. What do you mean? He says mobile infantry made me the man I am today, and it fucking zooms in on his legs, dog. The fuck? He's saying, like, it is cast as a positive light, but the juxtaposition is that he has got no legs and he has one hand. The point is, don't fucking join the military for fascist purpose. It's all hyper-nationalistic fascist nonsense. It's not just that scene. If you look at any character over 30 in the movie, they're disfigured in some way. Yep.
Interesting.
I think I'm gonna go career. I want to command a ship of my own, and you know.
What is this? This reminds me of the time Nick Fuentes watched my video about him, and during the part where I gave a lift of what a fascist believes, he paused and said, "But that's literally all true." You're shocked that fascists can be so oblivious, but if they had the capacity for awareness and growth, they wouldn't be fascists. A political tendency which explicitly rejects complex thought. Fascists filter everything through their fucked up aesthetics reality lens. They view everything as a work of art 100%. Literally, the good guys are the good guys because they're right in the story. It's not as simple as that they miss the subtext. It's that the very notion of subtext is the anathema to their entire worldview. Great take from Thought Slime on this. No matter how well or effective a propagandist might be, when they're fascist, there's like something inherently broken about their brains that, I mean, the more reactionary someone is, the less they're, the less they recognize the subtlety, even when it's like not so subtle, like the fucking thing I just showed you guys. And the movie is riddled with inferences such as that one. One can appreciate aesthetics without being fascist. Yeah, of course. That's not what I'm saying. What the fuck? Yes, of course. You can have an eye for beauty. I'd never said that like aesthetics inherently are fascist concept. Fascists do care about aesthetics, however, but there's nothing underneath it. What you see is what you get. But I guess that's part of the reason why people look at part of the reason why people probably look at One Piece and are like, what do you mean? It's a fucking gum man. And not because like every single person that doesn't understand the subtext in that circumstance is fascist, but instead, a lot of liberals also lack that quality, which is why I think they find themselves so susceptible, so in the throes of fascism. Fascism can come across very alluring to liberals because it's like on the same wavelength as liberalism in the sense that it has the same underpinnings. It operates off of like good bad the good bad dynamics, which is why I think a lot of liberals actually got mad at Starship Troopers originally, partially because they literally said the same thing that this guy was saying, where they were like, why does this fascism look so good here? They look so hot. Why did you show them as like good characters?
According to The Guardian, Richards described Carmen as a strong woman and a great role model, noting that the lack of a romantic resolution for her character was the best decision. Young love is messy and everyone gets their heart broken at some point. If there's any message about love inside Starship Troopers, besides fascists loving war, it's that there's no such thing as living happily ever after. We all clearly noticed the room full of naked people, regardless of what age we saw this movie, but we may not have appreciated the subtext until later. There's an argument to be made that the co-ed shower scene in Starship Troopers isn't necessary, designed to incite thirst and nothing more. Let's not forget that Verhoeven directed Basic Instinct and Showgirls immediately prior to this film. However, this scene isn't as gratuitous as it might first appear. The main group of recruits discuss their reasons for enlisting in the military. One of them wants to escape the farm life and see the universe, and another has political aspirations. The scene highlights the camaraderie between the troopers, and at no point do they showcase any physical desire toward each other. This scene reinforces the idea that all of the soldiers are regarded as equals, quite progressive for a fascist military-industrial complex. Starship Troopers is considered so refreshing in its portrayal of gender politics, it passes the Bechdel test several times over. Starship Troopers has a nearly all-white main cast, and most of them are good-looking. But the movie's lack of diversity was certainly intentional. Verhoeven spoke directly to the idea when talking about casting Van Dien as Rico. Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon auditioned, but I was looking for the prototype of blonde, white, and arrogant. And Casper Van Dien was so close to the images I remembered from Leni Riefenstahl's films. That said, it's worth—
That's so crazy that the dude who grew up in like fucking Nazi-occupied Holland was like, you look like the poster boy for the Aryan race from the Nazi propaganda I was forced to watch as a child. When he's right.
Worth noting that there's more diversity in the original novel. The book's lead character is a Filipino man named Juan. While this aspect was overlooked for artistic reasons, it still makes Starship Troopers one of the many Hollywood blockbusters to have whitewashed people of color from the original source material. At the same time, commenting on fascism wasn't the only reason for casting 90s heartthrobs like Van Dien, Richards, Neil Patrick Harris, and Jake Busey in the main roles. According to Screen Slate, Verhoeven wanted actors who looked wholesome, innocent, and classically beautiful, further enhancing the notion that war makes good people do right.
I do think that, honestly, I guess it's because this is why like aesthetics are so important for fascists. Because I guess they like low-key recognize, or maybe they're just like playing to their audience without even realizing it. But like, that's how you can just like make this more alluring and compelling.
While it
for
can be
liberals.
argued that adding more diversity could have similarly illustrated this point, there's no denying that Starship Troopers has clear intentions.
Let me tell you something. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all!
It's no secret that Starship Troopers is a subversive movie. It was Verhoeven's intention from the very beginning to satirize both the original pro-war novel as well as the increasingly imperialistic nature of the United States. To that end, the movie made some key changes from the book that seek to show how evil the military-run government really is underneath. One of the biggest examples of this is the Buenos Aires plotline, which can easily be taken at face value until you rewatch it as an adult. The mysterious enemy race of aliens known as the Arachnids are seemingly capable of hurling asteroids across vast distances of space to attack human targets. So when an asteroid decimates the Earth city of Buenos Aires, where Rico's parents live, it sets humanity on a bloodthirsty path of revenge against the aliens.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
Yet the filmmakers hint at more going on with this event than the characters would make it seem. Many have speculated that the destruction of Buenos Aires was a false flag attack by the human government to justify an invasion of the arachnid homeworld, Klendathu. The only information about the arachnids' capability to send asteroids towards Earth comes from the fascist military government, which casts doubt on the credibility of their claims. Humanity's militaristic society does everything it can to paint the arachnids as the most heartless creatures imaginable. Multiple propaganda scenes exist solely to degrade, devalue, and disrespect the alien foe as part of humanity's war effort. But how true are the claims? Fans know that Verhoeven intentionally made the film seem like a piece of propaganda, portraying a utopian fascist society that to audiences in 1997 would look absurdly nightmarish. Because of the satirical nature and propagandistic tone, it's no surprise that the characters of the film are so merciless to their enemies. In one scene, we see children on Earth
children squashing bugs,
real-life cockroaches. This is framed as a patriot act for the war effort, symbolizing humanity crushing the arachnids. But it becomes clear that the bugs are largely misunderstood creatures, forced into fighting a defensive war against aggressive human colonization. The end of Starship Troopers
arachnids equals Iraq? No, man, this came before the American invasion of Iraq. I don't think he was. Maybe he had a Desert Storm in mind potentially, but like, I think that just comes from. I don't think it comes from. Desert Storm, more so that it was. Isn't it just from the book?
Shows just how victimized the bugs actually are. After capturing the massive brain bug, Carl Jenkins, played by Neil Patrick Harris, is able to feel its emotions and relay them to the army of troopers.
It's afraid. It's afraid!
While the end of the movie features all the explosive action that fans enjoy, the first half of Starship Troopers focuses on how these attractive young humans are trained for war. Rico, along with his friends Carmen, Carl, and Dizzy, are all taught by a roster of
Again, look, see that? A dude that like survived.
dating instructors who have experienced combat firsthand. On first viewing, these scenes are overshadowed by the love rectangle between Rico, Dizzy, Carmen, and Xander. But it isn't until revisiting Starship Troopers as an adult that the depressing nature of the film's teacher-student dynamic becomes apparent. The instructors fought against the arachnids, suffering horrific physical disfigurements in combat. Michael Ironside's John Rochek is missing an arm, and the biology teacher, played by Rue McClanahan, is blind and heavily scarred. These physical conditions foreshadow the fates of many students who will go off to war. Starship Troopers seems to have a happy ending, with our heroes defeating their enemies and going off to successful military careers. But thanks to the film's satirical edge, this excitement feels hollow. Rico's character arc throughout the film shows us just how sad of an ending this really is. At the start, Rico is a conflicted character who is unsure of his place in the military machinery. He joins the mobile infantry, but not out of any sense of patriotic duty. While it's true that his military service will guarantee him citizenship, his desire to continue a romantic relationship with Carmen is what draws him into the war. He shows compassion and conscientiousness during his training.
Wait, are they trying to cancel Starship Troopers now? What the fuck? No, it's not.
As well as deep regret when he directly contributes to the death of a fellow soldier during an exercise gone wrong. It's not until the invasion of Klendathu, after his parents are killed in the Buenos Aires attack, that Rico drastically changes into a killing machine. Starship Troopers ends with an in-universe propaganda video encouraging new recruits to join the military so they can be heroes like Rico.
Come on, you ape! You wanna live forever!
For a man as initially open-minded as Rico, this is an unhappy ending. He is now truly just a cog in the war machine.